bit more important for Christians to know the truth of God's Word and the authority we possess in Christ. Start using God's weapons today. To receive your copy, send your love gift to TBN, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.
Welcome back to Joy in Our Town, the ultimate source for community information. I'm your host, Rachel Miller, and I am so delighted that you have stayed with me for the second half of today's broadcast. We have invited Stephanie C. Harper to join us. She is an author, she's a career expert, and she's also a certified human resources professional. She's also the author of Why Should I Hire You? And I know that that is the question that a lot of individuals want to know if you are in the job market. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you, Rachel.
It is a delight to have you here. There are so many people that are looking for jobs, and I know that this is what you do. This is your life, educating individuals on making the right choices in launching their job search. On the first half of the broadcast, we really wanted to paint the picture for the person who, you know, what to do first. But on this half, I'd like you to really go into detail on what a person needs to do once they have landed that job interview so that they don't make mistakes. Let's begin with the very first thing that you need to do to prove that you're the best person for the job.
Prepare. Prepare. So often job seekers will arrive unprepared. One of the things that every job seeker should do, regardless to how much they think they know about a company, is do some research. Find out what the latest technologies may be. Find out what the latest developments are for that individual company. Then that way, when you walk in there, you're able to intelligently have a conversation with the person that you're interviewing with.
Okay, so prepare.
Prepare.
Okay.
As much as you can.
Let's back up. Before you actually arrive for the interview, you need to get dressed, you need to prepare yourself. Let's talk about your wardrobe. You know, there's a program that talks about what not to wear. What should you wear to a job interview, and what should you stay away from?
There is a study out on colors that says that blue is the favorite color of most people. Now, we've always been told to wear black, but if the favorite color of most people is blue, why not go and automatically get a brownie point for having on someone's favorite color?
Okay.
One of the things that you should do, of course, is you should put the suit on before you go. You should make sure that it fits comfortable. You should make sure that it feels comfortable, because the worst thing to be is uncomfortable in that situation. You're already kind of nervous and fiddling already, so you don't want to have to deal with your clothing as an issue. Make sure that there's no cleavage showing. Make sure that there's no particles showing. Make sure that it's clean, neatly pressed, and these are all things that you should be doing the night before the interview.
Okay, so blue, would the choice be navy then? Because there are different shades of blue, so you know, you really have to go.
Doesn't have to be navy.
Okay, doesn't have to be navy, but blue.
But blue.
Okay, very good. So now you're dressed in that navy suit, and I've heard over the years that there are so many women deal with this. You know, whether or not a pantsuit is acceptable in going in for an interview. Are pantsuits considered to be acceptable?
Pantsuits are acceptable. However, it depends on how you want to be viewed. Do you want to be viewed as a woman, or do you want to be viewed as a professional? And I think, and this is my own personal opinion, I think if you walk in, it really depends on how the suit fits you. You know, as long as one of the rules of thumbs when you're wearing a suit is that the length should be no more than a business card length.
Okay.
So if that skirt is higher than a business card from your knee, you probably should not wear that to the interview.
Okay. I'd like to do this, Stephanie, because you, I know, worked in the human resources arena for about 16 years?
Absolutely.
Okay. So sitting on the HR, on the side of the HR, on the HR side, you noticed so many mistakes that people made when they would come in for their interview. List some of those mistakes.
Some of those mistakes would include bad hygiene, too firm of a handshake, talking too much, the know-it-all attitude. Men
wearing earrings in their ear, is that body piercings, different things of that sort?
You should leave those things at home for the interview.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it's not a bad idea to be clean shaven as well.
Okay, so clean shave. So basic personal hygiene, and you would notice that people would get those things wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
And probably wondering why they weren't getting a job.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Talk about some of the other mistakes. Okay, you talked about wardrobe. Talk about resume mistakes. What are some of the mistakes that you notice that would come across your desk?
I would say that the top three would be tenure, salary, and position. Usually those things are kind of embellished, and it's easy to tell. After you've been in the business for a while, it's not likely that a person will jump from an administrative assistant to a human resources director. So when you see things like that on a resume, it's an instant red flag. The other thing with the resumes, so often people leave off the complete dates, which is another red flag because it says I'm trying to hide something. Another thing that a lot of people do is they put more than 10 years of experience, so they begin to date themselves. There are numerous mistakes that the job seeker will make, but you know, they've got to also be able to have a clear objective. If I am reading your resume, you have 7 seconds to get me to want to read it. So what at the very top of your resume is going to force me to read your complete resume?
Okay. Now, have you found that individuals are just too detailed on some of their resumes?
Yes,
too much information?
Too much information, because you have to remember, usually we have a time to fill the position. And if you already have a long, extensive cover letter, and then you have a very wordy resume, I have to read 3 pages just to get your accomplishments. So sometimes less is more. Sometimes you need to say what you have to say as well with the cover letter. You should be very brief but to the point.
Okay.
It should not duplicate the resume. Okay. It should serve as 2 functions: to introduce yourself to the employer, and also the employer wants to make sure that you can follow instructions.
Okay, let's use this as an example. A person wants to work in management. How important is your appearance if you're looking for a management position?
Remember that every company has a culture, and you have to be able to fit into that company's culture. So you have to, again, that goes back to being prepared and doing your research. It may be worth taking a ride into the parking lot to find out how the people walking out are looking. If everyone is coming out in a suit, then you may want to show up in a suit because you want to look like the manager that they're trying to hire.
Now, what's this whole duck thing that you talk about in some of your workshops? If you want to look like a duck, quack like a duck, you've got to share that with our viewers. Yes, you have to share that. What's this duck thing? What is that all about?
Well, people will often say, well, I'm an administrator by day, but I'm so-and-so at night. It doesn't matter where you are. People are going to see you, and what they see is what they get. So if you're out in the middle of the day looking like a duck, and if you're out in the middle of the night looking like a duck, if you look like a duck, you quack like a duck, you must be a duck.
Okay. Okay, so if you want to be a manager, you must look like a manager.
Absolutely.
And your appearance is everything when you're wanting to be a manager. Okay, very good. Now, we talked about the appearance and some of the mistakes on a resume. What are some of the mistakes? You're sitting there. Some individuals have reached the point of desperation. You know, they've got bills due, you know, and they know that they're qualified for the job, and they're just thinking in their mind, if you would just hire me, I could prove to you that I could do this job. What do you say to the person that feels desperate?
Their objective at that point is not to share their desperation with me, because you have to be mindful that now I'm saying, oh boy, what kind of issue am I taking on by hiring this person? So when it comes to the interview portion, the most important thing that you can do is remain professional. At the end of the day, I should remember that you are the most qualified candidate for the position, not what's going on with your personal situation. Remember, this is business, and it's professional, not personal.
Okay, so how do you stand out?
You should be, first of all, you have to know who you are. I like to equate the job search with a stage play. You have to know your role, know your lines, and then be willing to play the other part if you don't get the leading role.
Okay. Should you talk about salary during an interview?
Absolutely not. The interviewer or the person who is conducting the interview should be, well, I should say you shouldn't bring it up. Okay. Let's be clear on that. Okay. Once it's brought up, you should be able to give a range as to what type of salary you're interested in. But as the job seeker, you should not bring it up, because it then turns the conversation to what's in it for me. And as the job seeker, your objective at this point is to show what contributions you can make.
Okay, so that's a no-no. Is that a red flag?
A red flag.
Is that a turn-off? As a human resource professional, you're turned off by that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because again, your objective is it's no longer about what the company needs or what you can do for the company. It becomes what the company can do for me.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, you also talk about you don't get a job just to get a job. You get it for an internship and a paid internship. Tell our viewers about this concept that you talk about.
One of the things that I like to educate job seekers on is there is a huge difference between a job and a career. Webster defines job as odd or occasional pieces of work, and career as continuous and progressive work. So it doesn't matter. You have to know that success is personal, and you are the one who defines it. You should not define your success by the position or the title you hold. You should define it by what you have said in my heart of hearts. This is what I need to be successful. So if you're trying to get into an industry that is unfamiliar to you, the best way to get in there is through an internship. Sometimes you have to take a step back in order to take a step forward. At that point, you're trying to get your foot in the door. So it is probably one of the smartest things that you can do is to go in as an intern, learn all the ropes from the bottom up, and then move across laterally, and then you can move up.
All right, very good. When you were working as a human resource professional, I'm sure there were so many things that you wish that you could tell the person on the other end that would just help them.
Yes.
What are some of those other things? Because if people are making mistakes, we want to give them that information today.
Absolutely. I would say one of the most common things is to please change your answering machines and your voicemails when you are in job search mode.
Okay.
One of the biggest things, you can find out so much about a person just by calling their house or their cell phone. And a lot of times we can't reach you, and we're in the middle of the day. We may get your cell phone, but we have to listen to music. We have to listen to what you think is comical on your answering machine. So one of the things I would remember that you are in job search mode, and my first impression of you is what happens when I get that answering machine or that voicemail.
Okay, what about kids answering the phone?
Absolutely not.
Don't let the kids answer the phone.
No, remember you're in job search mode, and this is and in my book I talk about that being one of the things that I used as a reference check. I was trying to get a hold of a candidate and could not get past the 3 or 4-year-old.
Did you say, is mommy home?
I said, is mommy home? Is daddy home? And she said no and hung up on me 3 different times. And so clearly my time was of the essence and I had to move on.
Did she get the job? Did she get
never was able to get to the young lady.
See, the 3-year-old. I don't know. Check with your kids. Maybe they're getting your messages. I don't know.
Absolutely.
We've been talking again today to Stephanie Harper, certified human resource professional, author of Why Should I Hire You? Her contact information is on the screen for more information. We are out of time. I wish you the best in your job search. Until next time, I'm Rachel Miller saying, make it a great day. Thank you.